So we're just going to see with these adjustments if things are a little bit clearer as we do Hello Again Wednesday number 83. As always, I'm so grateful that you've joined me watching right now live on Facebook. Or also you can be watching on a bunch of platforms that I'm on, which is like culvercitychurchofgod.org. I have it posted there. I also do it on my Hello Again Wednesday, on my YouTube channel called Brent Miller, What's on His Mind. You can join me there every week. Please click following on my Facebook so that you know when things are happening and you can join live. Also, follow me on my YouTube channel. So it would be to subscribe and click the notification button so you know every week when that video is posted. And so we are inching our way. As you are my special guest, we are week after week. My special guest, we are inching our way to the 100th episode, which is going to be a big one. Going to do probably an hour-long segment for that one. If we can get 100 followers, if we can get 100 individuals that are viewing live, we might even do, I'm really seriously thinking about doing it via Zoom onto the Facebook, the 405, onto Facebook, and just doing it that way to where we can have actual interaction live. And so please consider joining me for that 100th episode. I would love to have, we really get, I know the views are probably very short views, but we do have almost an average. We're in the 80s, 75 to 80 viewers week after week on Facebook. If we can hit that 100 or more viewers that are viewing these episodes, that would be great. If we can hit 100 people joining week after week, that would be great. If I can get 100 subscribers to my YouTube channel and with the notifications, right now I got a long way to go. I think it's only 17. I'll double check. But I got a long way to go to get 100 subscribers. And so please, one of the ways to make all this happen is to share the videos. Share them with your friends, share them with your family. Ask them, hey, you got a story? Tell the story. Which brings me to today's question. Your camping experience or camp experience. What is the worst? What is the best? Leave me a story in the comments, and I would love to air them, read them, as well as allowing other people to see your stories. It might trigger some memories their way to where they will join in the conversation also. And so that is what it is for Hello Again Wednesday 83. Let's go camping. Okay. And so as I was pondering this episode, it would have been the thought process of it is summertime. In fact, just yesterday was the longest day of the year, I believe. We're not by time, but by sunshine. And so out here in Southern California, man, it does stay nice and bright for a very long time on that last day. The kids were out very late because it is summertime. They had been in the pool. They had been at the park. And so that is how things go when the day is the longest. And now in reality, the sunshine will slowly start ticking away and become the shortest day, which will be in the winter. And so that's what's happening. And so what takes place in summertime, though, is camps. And so there are things where I see posted on Facebook, especially, where there are individuals that are planning their camping experience. A lot of times I got friends up in Canada and always posting the pictures of toes on a beach and the desire to be vacationing and can't wait for that. Or I've also seen where there's been their cabins up there and they are posting those saying, I can't wait to get there to the lake or whatever it is. And so, you know what, with those things, we do the same thing, except for the beach is just down the street. So we just go and jump in. In fact, Elijah's like, man, today, hey, after church, can we go to the beach? And so he wanted to do it yesterday, and it got a little late. And so he was excited because that would have been 3 days in a row, Papa, we would have gone to the beach. And so those are some of the things that take place experience wise. I have cousins that are always posting their first day at the campsite. They up in Wisconsin, especially first day at the campsite, or hey, we're prepping the trailer for camping this summer, and then you see the first bonfires that are taking place at these campsites. Everyone is excited about the getaways that take place during summer, and so we have grown up. I grew up camping as a Boy Scout, learned the techniques and the strategies of camping outside and the ways to, as I got older in the Boy Scout system, there were ways you learned to camp more comfortable. And I can remember, how we used to actually grill steaks and chicken and, not just some dehydrated stuff or anything like that. We tried to camp really cool. And I had some great camping experiences all the way up into Belgium, where we hiked over at Garmisch and in Germany. And I hiked those mountains, and I also skied that mountains area. And so there's things that we did throughout the year, but especially in the summertime, you did a lot of Boy Scout activity camping and stuff like that. Um, Later on in life, when I was married, we went camping. We camped the best way possible with Connie's parents, and that was to use a motorhome with slide outs and microwaves and kitchenettes and stuff like that, and even a shower. So things were good that way. They even had a lot. We called it the lot, and they had a little mobile home down on this one place down at the lake in Illinois. And we've done all kinds of things camp wise. We've also done where the kids have loved it, where we have went on vacations. And so on vacations, we'd stop at KOAs and stuff like that. And they have some fun stories of Mackinac Island, the KOAs that we did on the way up, and go-karting and biking and stuff like that. There's all kinds of stories that we have in our camping experience. One of the things I saw this past week was I guess you call them memes, and it was you people in the north, you're always talking about, hey, if you don't like the mosquitoes, why don't you get some mosquito spray? And then the comment from the south was a picture of mosquito spray, and the mosquitoes was sucking right out of the can of mosquito spray. That's how bad they are. And so I don't know. One of the blessings here in Southern California is we have very, very few mosquitoes out here on the coast. They do pop in once in a while, but it's not like usual. You can go out and enjoy the evening pretty much with no problem. Well, sometimes it gets humid a little bit, not like in Illinois right now or in the past, but it gets that way, and mosquitoes do come out. That's some of the camping experiences. Me as a youth pastor, we did camp every summer, and there's many stories. We were just talking about the things that are probably lost for generations now as camps close and go by the wayside sometimes. But there's some things you'll never forget. A mudslide. I don't know if you've ever done a mudslide. I can remember times and these are the discussions we had this week, where if it would rain at camp, kids would immediately make a mudslide just by sliding across wet grass, and it would get muddy. We did those a lot, besides actually having a mudslide, which meant care for that, because you had to get leaves and twigs and stuff out of it. But they also had things such as the pool. Everyone loved the pool at summer camp. You went swimming. We had a thing, it was called the Magic Carpet Ride. It was kind of like a hay ride without the hay. And so then there was kids that would get on that trailer, and they would ride around for 2 or 3 hours during free time, just laying on it, laughing and having a good time. Then there was things at the pool that took place. They had a thing called the brain freeze. And with the brain freeze, what it was a one stall shower, uh, the one piece shower units that you can purchase and install. Well, they had one of those, and they put a fence, a gated fence on top of it where the opening was. And then they would purchase these super large, we call them punch balls, had the rubber band and they get super big. They would purchase balloons, and then they would hook up a hose to the balloon, and kids would stand in that shower stall while the balloon blew up with anticipation of ice cold water pouring over them when the balloon burst. Then someone came up with this great idea, kind of like the old how many people can you get into a phone booth, because that's about the size of this thing. And so what they did is they would see how many kids they could get into a stall, the shower stall that was outside. And then they'd have this balloon gathering up. And man, I could be wrong. It seemed like one time they got like 14 kids in that shower stall hanging all over the place to wait for that balloon to burst. And then the screams that would happen when that ice cold water shattered over them. The other thing that they would do up there, we did a bunch of stuff, but one of the things that was kind of cool that kids loved and was a air compressed bottle rocket. And it's a water bottle rocket. It was such a simple device. You just hooked up an air hose to a tube that was thin enough to go inside a 2-liter bottle filled with water. You'd fill that bottle up with water, put it over, and then they would press this release mechanism of the air, and that bottle rocket full of water, or that bottle pop full of water, would shoot 100 feet in the air, maybe. I don't know. It went high. And that was some of the things that happened at camp. Plus, there was years that we gathered in such a way, and we had an annual, because it was a week-long camp, we would have an annual we called it the shaving cream fight. Not a fight, but what would take place is I would gather up, because I was the activities director, so I would gather up just gobs and gobs of cans of shaving cream, and then we would just give the kids a chance to load their hands up with shaving cream and see who they could just get shaving cream on. And then we'd take an after picture of kids just covered in shaving cream. Just some joys of camp. It would rain, and one of the things when it rained at camp, you always tried to figure out, well, what do we do? What do we pass the time with? They had a few things indoors where you could play pool, ping pong, all kinds of game boards and stuff like that. You could do stuff like that. But then one year we decided, you know what we ought to do? Let's hook up the projector and let's just watch some movies. And so there's things that we would do at camp. And I don't want to take anybody's stories. There were so many memories. I think one of my favorite we had during some of our things that took place in the evening. It would get dark, and there was one year where the dance team choreographed, whatever. They did a choreography dance that involved glow sticks and glow paint, and with all the lights out, it was so cool to see. Just some things that took place at camp. There's many, many, many more stories. One of them might be Chubby Bunny. And so if you're wondering about Chubby Bunny, why don't you leave a comment and we'll discuss that even more. I'm so glad you joined me this week for Hello Again Wednesday. It'll be 2 p.m. out here on the West Coast, out in Culver City, out near the marina. And so at 2 p.m. Out here on the coast, it is our Bible study. We are in the book of Joshua, and Pastor Mark will be joining us via Zoom to lead us through that book that we're doing here. You have two ways to join in that Bible study. You can join in with the Zoom link, or you can join in live in person. In fact, that's where I'm at. I'm downstairs. Talking about camp. We're taking kids to camp. I'm interjecting one more time, taking kids to camp very shortly. We have people who are now sponsoring kids to go to camp. And that is exciting because camp changes lives. And so just like Bible study changes lives, camp changes lives. That's my backdrop. We have Kids Zone every Sunday. They had a great balloon game that went with some of the stuff. Anyways, Bible study, 2 p.m. Go ahead and join us. And if you can't join us for Bible study, go ahead and check out a Bible-believing church near you. Who knows? Maybe they will be talking about camp for their adults, camp for their kids, or whatever. And in fact, my parents are camping right now in Anderson, Indiana, as they are camping right now and doing, it is the annual, they do for our associate, well, whatever. For church, it's church camp, okay, for adults. But there is camps going on for kids. Who knows? Maybe that Bible study will be emphasizing send your kid to camp. It changes lives. Be sure and answer the question, what is your camp story? What's your camp horror story? What's your camp favorite story? And as always, thank you for being my special guest. As we inch our way to that 100th episode, don't forget to pass the word along, share the video, encourage others to be a part of this conversation as my special guest. And I will see you next week on Hello Again Wednesday. Thanks, everyone.